Hello, I'm bringing up the chart of the moment. I want to talk about astrology, of course. I'm so glad you're here. I'm having a Lilith activation with this full moon. I don't know what kind of activation you're having. Check out 11 degrees Capricorn in your chart to take a peek at what may have been transited by the moon in its fullness when it was full at 4 a.m. ish this morning Pacific time. Also, the moon is still in Capricorn. I think by now it's at 15 degrees. Let me look at that chart and make sure I'm being accurate here. Yes, the moon is at 15 degrees. The moon is still full. It's at 15 degrees Capricorn at this time. It's making an opposition to Mercury, which is in Cancer, along with the Sun, which is in Cancer. Something interesting about the United States that you're probably aware of, because you know that we celebrate sort of like the birthday of the United States on July 4th. So what's true about this is that the United States is a Cancer. And the United States, we might say, some people might say the United States is a Cancer, the disease, but I'm talking about the zodiac sign Cancer. So ideally, from this Cancer sign perspective, this United States should be nurturing its children and its dependents. And what I think we might see happen with the collective experience of those of us who are in the United States this week, as we're sort of, some of us are maybe celebrating this day, and others of us may be using this day to reflect on what it actually means and what this country actually stands for. So if you've known a Cancer person in your life, you may have experienced them to be nurturing. You may have experienced them to be manipulative. You might even have experienced them as liars. That has been my experience on occasion. Every time a Cancer has lied to me, it has been from this perspective of it's for my own good. And I think part of what we're going to be going through this week in the United States is a witnessing and maybe receiving of information about, I don't know if it's going to be like specific political leaders or some sort of deals that have happened that we weren't aware of. Just like feels like something unsavory sort of coming to our awareness through the communications of Mercury about this Cancer vibration, which could be, we could perceive it as the United States. Another reason why the United States stuff is a part of this, in addition to the United States being a Cancer, in addition to it being 4th of July, and the full moon taking place in opposition to the placements in Cancer, is that the full moon is going to be transiting over 27 degrees Capricorn tomorrow, and that is where the natal placement for the United States Pluto is. We also have Pluto currently at 29 degrees Capricorn and moving retrograde, and will be eventually contacting that 27 degrees Pluto placement for the US natal placement. So as people, we don't typically live long enough to experience our Pluto return. You might be familiar with the Saturn return, which takes place about every 29-ish years. When a planet or celestial body returns to the place that it was when we were born, or when something came into creation, there's often a transition that takes place. It's almost like the end of a chapter or an act, and then we move on to something different. I'm not sure what the moving on to something different is going to be for the United States, but we first started experiencing some of this energy during the pandemic. And after the Great Conjunction, there's been a lot of activity that has felt like potentially certain things were ending. And it's curious how the Supreme Court is moving this energy and ending certain things that, from their perspective, which we might say is the perspective of working tirelessly working to uphold white supremacy, and the white supremacy that is the foundation of this country, of the United States, and that they're working to undo some of what wasn't aligned with upholding that, and some of those endings are coming through. What I'm hoping we can do, so taking it out of the Capricorn realm, taking it out of like the government rulership realm, and bringing it to Cancer, bringing it home, and bringing it to you and me, and some place, our home, where we actually can contribute to the health and wellness of that space, because very few of us who are connected in this, if you're watching this, it's very likely that you and I don't have a lot of power. Well, I know I don't have a lot of power within the United States government on my own. And you might also know that you don't have a lot of power and authority at the government level. And it's okay to acknowledge that as individuals, we don't have a lot of power in that way. And it's also really an excellent practice to be aware of the power that we do hold and within the spaces that we visit routinely on a regular basis. And also how we hold power at home and within our family space. If you are a parent, if you are a parent to children, or even if you are someone who is a primary nurturer of animals, anyone living being who is dependent on you puts you in a position of being a nurturer and living some of the Cancer energy that is lit by the sun right now. So you may find that you're in a space where you want to be making your home a more comfortable place for yourself and for those that you love and nurture. And you may be pouring a lot of energy into those living beings that you nurture. And if you're being pulled away from that to tend to something else, and maybe you have different plans, your like work is very poppin' right now, or you are at some kind of event, or you've been pulled away for whatever reason, what you may encounter is some sort of like urgent crisis that is pulling your energy back to that being which you are responsible for nurturing. So here now we have this duality where we have responsibility and accountability and power and maybe control in the Capricorn realm. And then we also have mothering and nurturance, emotional stability and safety at home in the Cancer realm. And so being able to hold space for both, knowing where to hold yourself accountable and what you are actually responsible for on the one hand, and then also taking the time to go into your shell if need be, into your home in sort of a hermit crab mode to tend to yourself and tend to your own tenderness and emotional wellness and sensitivity so that eventually you can go back out into the world. If you have people who are dependent on you, living beings who are dependent on you, you will also be encouraged within the space, within the shell, to be caring for those who are dependent. And one of my dependents is calling my energy to them right now. So I'll see you later. Bye.